Is AI right for your business? This episode will help you to decide. Don't AI become a liability? Listen to this episode to learn how to avoid some common mistakes and unlock the power of AI for your business. Hi, my name is Sam-Erik and this is the Social Hotelier podcast. My guest today is Jayanth N Kolla. He is my go-to AI expert. We've been speaking about AI for the last few years, in fact, and yes. I always come a little bit wiser out of these episodes, and I hope you will do too, because we are going to talk about certain things that will help you to decide of how you should plan about implementing AI if you haven't done so. I mean, AI is changing so quickly that it's mind-boggling how the big players are upgrading and things are getting faster, and you can produce a better flow and all that stuff that should help you to conduct your business more smarter. But also there is some traps that you have to be aware of, and I think that Jayanth's going to share some of his things that he has learned by this time. So Jayanth Kolla, just for if you haven't heard about him before, he's a technocrat with over 23 years of experience and AI advisor for 27 companies across 16 industries globally. He's the author of a very interesting book that you should read if you haven't done so. AI Rising, India's Artificial Intelligence Growth Story. So it's a really compelling book, and I think Jayanth has a podcast about the same topic as the book. So Jayanth, welcome and good to see you again.
Sam-Erik, it's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, AI is like we are in your backyard now, and it would be great to understand a little bit about any companies, what they should think about when they think about planning artificial intelligence, and if they are cautious about doing that, well, what are the steps you want to recommend that they should think about? Just give me a general idea so we can get the discussion going.
Yeah. Even before we get into that, Sam-Erik, I want to say that the Social Hotelier podcast, for me, it's very sentimental. And, we've been talking since June 2019, 4.5 years now. And every year, starting 2020, we do one episode sometime in January or February, right? And whatever we talk about in that particular episode ends up being the trend for the rest of the year. In 2020, if you remember, we talked about the impending COVID and the lockdowns. This was, I think, in February, right? And then even last year, I think it was a January episode where we talked about, the topic was that it was quite a bold topic. We said that the era of a technocrat or a technologist being the rock star of a generation is over. And that actually happened in 2023. I mean, AI came and it took over. The software developers or the technologists are not the center of, white collar jobs anymore, because AI is actually writing code, and the demand and the need for technologists, they've been the center of the white collar jobs and all professions for a good 20-25 years. But last year it decreased. I mean, it started coming down. So I always look forward for this podcast, episode in January and February, and the topic that we discuss ends up becoming a, real world trend. And even today's topic, where we are going to be talking about how companies should think about their AI strategy and plan, and how they should go about implementing it, and what are the key criteria that they need to look at. I think it's very important to understand right now, because ever since ChatGPT has been launched in November 2022, AI became a huge buzzword, right? And everyone wants to do something with it. But the problem is this: they want to do something with it, they don't know what. Okay, and I keep, like I said, I mean, in the last 5-6 years, I've advised about 27 different companies, from the biggest ones like Google to the smallest ones like, young startups across 16 industries. And even right now, I'm advising a whole bunch of companies across fashion and apparel industry, retail industry, the governments implementing AI platforms. Okay, and I keep seeing their approach. The media companies, I'm advising media companies on their AI strategy. So I'm seeing how they are thinking about it, and more than anything else, my biggest conversation and advice and consulting to them is to think right about AI. Okay, so to start the topic, first and foremost, I want the audience and the people and everyone across industries to understand that we are evolving across different generations as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, right? Before ChatGPT, in November 2022, everything artificial intelligence was, we call it, the traditional AI or the conventional AI, okay, or AI 1.0, right? The AI Rising team, we call it AI 1.0. What AI 1.0 was good at was it was good at analysis, right? I mean, primarily machine learning and deep learning. It used to look at a lot of data. It used to look at a lot of patterns and analyze, the trends, and also basis the trend analysis or do some predictions, right? So AI 1.0 was very good at analysis, and then came generative AI. Okay, the ChatGPT, the Mid Journey, DALL-E 2. Machines started creating. In the first generation, machines were analyzing. In the second generation with generative AI, machines started creating. Okay, and we are about to get into the third generation of AI in the next 6 months. Okay, where the machines are going to be reasoning. Okay, they're going to do logical reasoning. So true blue intelligence machines are going to get into, and that is going to be AI 3.0. Okay, so now when it comes to companies adopting and implementing AI, what I have observed is that the best value comes at the intersection of AI 1.0 and AI 2.0 right now, and companies need to understand what they want to implement and why they want to do that. Okay, I'm actually advising two different apparel industry companies in the fashion industry. Okay, and they're like $100 million companies in India. They provide their merchandise to the Armani's, Versace's, Tommy Hilfigers, and Abercrombie and Fitches around the world. Okay, and both of them are implementing AI, right? But the way they are implementing is completely different. Okay, the way they are implementing, and it all depends on what the company's priorities are. Okay, basis that you either implement a large section of AI 1.0, which is essentially digitization, data analytics, machine learning, forecasting, or some elements of AI 2.0 where you actually do the design using AI. It depends on the company's ambition and how they want to get to, right? One of the company, and we've advised them saying that, if you implement this, you can evolve on the value chain and become a technology vendor to your customers as well. You can actually start giving them AI generated designs, okay, at will. And one company adopted that, and they're taking that trajectory, whereas the other company says, I don't want to. It's a part of their strategy, right? We don't want to be that. We just want AI to automate our processes and workflows. Okay.
So does it have to do with like their core values, or is the core values of the company or how does it relate to the? Because there are two approaches.
I would say it's a strategy, right? It's how the management thinks about it. It's how the board thinks about it. Does the board have the appetite to evolve from the business that they've been doing and the value chain play that they have been for the last many years to get to the next level? I would say it's a function of how progressive the company and the company's management and the board is, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we are seeing. I mean, I'm giving you an example of two companies in the same industry, okay, implementing AI, but they're implementing it for different things. I mean, one company is implementing it for automation of their workflows. plus their designs creation, and evolving into trying to become a technology company and technology vendor for its partners, whereas the other company is saying, you know what, just automate the workflows for me. So what I have observed is that, and we are seeing this around the world as well, that especially after generative AI has come, okay, companies come and say, you know what, just create one AI avatar for us, and get them to talk and get them to behave. We've got this requirement from an American steakhouse, okay, where they want the avatar of their chef, who's a celebrity unto himself, okay, to sort of suggest the people on how to roast the steaks, okay. Yeah. But the thing is, people are looking at these point solutions as far as AI is concerned, right? And they're like, just do this or just do that. But what we keep telling them is, you have to understand that AI is called a deep technology, right? Yeah. There's a reason why it's called a deep technology. What are the other deep technologies? There's electricity, there's mobile wireless, there's GPS, there's cloud, okay, and there's AI. You saying that just implement this one particular aspect of generative AI is like saying that, just put one bulb in one corner of my house, okay. From your point of view, I understand. I mean, there's this new technology, and you don't want to go all in terms of your investment, okay, and you want to see whether it works or not. So you just want to start with lighting up one bulb in a corner of a house. But the thing is, to light up the bulb in the corner of the house, we still have to electrify your house, right? Yeah. It's like saying, so the amount of time, money, and energy investment is going to be more or less the same. And once we electrify your house, we not only can light up a bulb in a corner of your house, we can turn on your air conditioners, your heaters, your refrigerators, you can plug in your TVs and your vacuum cleaners, and a whole bunch of those things. And the cost and the effort is incremental post that, right? So okay. I want companies to understand this, that don't look at from your point of view. I understand you just want to test the water, you want to dip your toe in this AI waters and see how it works. But it's a deep technology, okay. Like electricity, it's going to activate everything it touches, okay. So when you think about AI, think of it like how you think of electricity, or how you think of mobile wireless. You say that, okay, you know what, I just want to make voice calls, okay. The telecom company will say, fine, you just want to make voice calls. I still have to put the telecom towers, the cell towers. I have to connect it with the backbone, and I have to connect it with the mobile switching center, and all that network layout has to be done. And once all that is done, guess what? You can also make data calls. You can also browse mobile internet on your this one, which has much more value apart from just voice calls. Okay, so think all these deep technologies are like that. So think of AI like electricity. It is going to activate and charge everything it touches. How it is going to activate and charge is depends on you, how you want to take advantage of it. So I'll give you another example. Normally we get some requirements from, let's say, the HR department, okay, especially after the generative AI has come, because ChatGPT and GPT-4 can write up whole essays and everything. So the HR department says, you know what, build us an AI solution, both with a combination of traditional AI and the generative AI, using where we can filter out the resumes, do the sentiment analysis, keyword search, extraction, summarization of the resumes, and using generative AI, you can also help us build out the job descriptions. Okay. In fact, we can actually go a step further. We know we built this for a few companies where the first 1 or 2 levels of interviews are actually being done by AI avatars. Okay, so the HR department comes up with this requirement, and we can build it out for them. But while we are building out this platform for the HR department, the same platform can be used by the vendor management or the supply chain department, or the purchase department of the company for vendor filtering, vendor management, invoicing, the supply chain and all the paperwork. The same platform with a little tweak can be used by the sales department for the sales funnel, pipeline, and everything else. Right now, the problem is the initial requirement comes from an HR department, so the CHRO or the chief HR officer is responsible for it, and they have some budget. But the same solution or the platform that is developed for the HR department can be used by the sales, marketing, and even vendor management and the purchase departments as well. So AI decision making or AI strategy and planning needs to happen at the CEO's office level right now. Okay, yes. That's another thing. As far as the companies and the enterprises are concerned, instead of individual functions and functional heads, at the CEO's office should be closely working with the AI planning and the strategy, and how once AI solution is developed for, let's say, a particular use case in a particular department, how very easily it can be tweaked to solve another problem in a completely different use case. And that kind of a visibility and the responsibility and accountability, lies with the CEO's office apart from the board of the company, and individual functions will only be responsible for their individual use cases only. So that's another thing that we urge the companies to look at, when developing their AI strategies and plans.
So in one way, you already mentioned that as it starts from the top, that is actually, and the board about who are talking about the core values of the company, and also then they will need to also look at how does the AI align with those values and find the right way of using. That's very good. I'm kind of interested to how can we best equip the team to make most out of the AI tools and ensure everyone is on board for success, because if it's only a HR department who's getting the success out of this, then we have other departments say, well, why can't we be successful? So could you just talk a little bit about how can we best equip the team so everybody can share the success of using AI?
Yeah. So when you talk about equipping the teams, let me talk in terms of the executive teams, of companies, and the senior and the middle management, The executive teams need to be trained on how to think about AI. The CEOs, the CXOs, the board, they need to be trained on how to think about AI. How can AI be used to increase the value, or even play a completely different role on the value chain, or grow on the value chain of the industry. This apparel company that we were talking about, just by implementing an AI platform for automating their workflows, we came up with 3 different revenue models and revenue streams for them, and they're playing a completely different role on the value chain. So now it's a strategic call whether they want to go for it or not, right? And that the executive team needs to be trained on, and they need to keep thinking about, because AI opens up opportunities for companies to be a completely different player on the value chain and open up different value propositions and revenue streams and business models, number one. So that thinking the executive team needs to have, and they need to constantly keep thinking about that. As far as the functional leads and the middle management are concerned, they need to be trained on the evolution of the technology and the tools. Understand that AI right now is also evolving every 6 months, literally. To give you an example, in the first half of 2023, the large language models of generative AI, they were very volatile. I mean, they captured a consumer's imagination, but as far as implementation in enterprises are concerned, okay, they were still not there in terms of giving accurate and consistent output, okay, that the enterprises could use. So in the first half of 2023, you actually hardly saw any enterprise products or solutions using generative AI. But those LLMs, became very crisp, and the hallucinations have decreased, and they became very accurate and consistent by the second half of 2023, especially in the last quarter of 2023 between October and December. Okay, a whole lot of enterprises were actually developing and launching into production generative AI products. Okay, so within 6 months, the evolution has happened. The same thing is the same trajectory. Or the pace and the momentum is continuing into 2024. So people need to understand, okay, how the technology is evolving, the different tools and the techniques are evolving, and what is coming out, and what is the maturity level, okay, so that they can adopt, they can implement, and they can look at the tools, okay, and implement those tools. One other thing that the middle management and the senior functional leads need to be trained on is also to understand that the cost of these tools are also going to decrease significantly, because we are in the early stages. The GPU usage is very high, but there's a lot of techniques and innovation happening on the need for lessening the GPU usage as well. Okay, so the cost of AI implementation for different tools is also going to come down significantly every couple of quarters for the next 2 to 3 years easily. Okay, so those are also the things that the middle and the senior management of the company, the guys who are responsible for implementing and operationalizing these AI tools need to be trained on. It's a continuous journey. Think of every company needs a chief AI officer and a chief AI and an AI team whose job is to only keep the ear to the ground and understand what the different trends and the evolution in the technology, in the innovation that's happening around the world, and how best they can adopt it for their company's needs and the priorities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming from the hospitality, and I always think about the customer experience. And one of the questions I would ask any company, even the companies that you work with, would be that how will the integration of AI impact the customer experience, and what measures will we have to take to ensure it enhances the customer interactions, not or rather than the other way around? So are those the kind of burning questions that also are raised in your discussions with the companies?
Yes, absolutely. The customer experience and the customer interaction, okay, is one of the key use cases and applications of AI, and especially in the hospitality and the travel industry, okay, wherein we are actually seeing a combination of the conventional AI 1.0, which essentially takes in a lot of, which does a profiling of the customer, okay, right?
Yeah.
Or the guest. It builds a persona of the customer, okay, and then you overlay the generative AI, which essentially builds out with that customer basis the persona, and that is happening. We are seeing that happening extensively in the hospitality industry, and customer experience and the interaction at scale, okay, is happening in the hospitality industry. I mean, I work with one engineering team which have built this companion AI, like that companion in that movie Her, right? So they offer it to different dating services and even hospitality and travel industry. This one where the AI, generative AI tool takes over and has this persona and interacts with people on the other side for extended period of time and keeps them engaged. Okay, so that customer experience is definitely one of the key use cases and applications that we are seeing across industries.
Yeah, I mean, and still AI is still so underutilized in the hospitality industry because people are looking only at as a little bit of a tool to play around with and maybe write some marketing emails, but it has to go beyond that. So I think time is ripe that so any of the hospitality companies are looking at AI seriously and are seriously bringing somebody dedicated to AI on board, then to talk an expert coming from outside the industry to give them the kind of insight what they can do more in order to create a better customer experience, and also maybe looking at the data. Is the data accurate that they are using? You know, that's a big thing, isn't it? Data.
Yes. It's very funny you say that bringing someone from outside the industry. Just 10 days back, I was doing a talk for the graduate students at Cornell University, okay, as a part of their entrepreneurship innovation course. And the topic was this: sometimes the best ideas come from outside of your industry. And as entrepreneurs, we very strongly believe that. I mean, we believe that all innovation comes from outside of your industry. And I remember that, I had this interaction with 90 Cornell students, and a lot of it we discussed AI, and there were students from hospitality background, financial services background, healthcare background. They were all very interested, and they all agree, and we had a very healthy interaction and conversation on how best ideas come from outside of the industry, and as far as AI implementation is concerned, we are seeing that as well. And in the hospitality industry, you mentioned data. Yes, definitely. But with the onset of generative AI, the need for large data, or as it was earlier required, is not there anymore. Now the AI algorithms have become extremely intelligent, that they can learn about a person and build a persona basis very small amount of data itself, right? So that's another huge paradigm shift that has happened in the AI world in the last couple of years, where the need for data has decreased drastically. Okay.
Yeah. Are there some ethical or regulatory considerations that need to be considered when you're implementing AI, and how can they ensure that there's a compliance and prevent maybe a bias? Because I always think about the use of the AI. It's not like an open field, you can do anything you want. I think there's some ethical and considerations that need to be taken, because once you have a lot of access, I mean, you're driving your car, there's data about how you use your car, that's data about you. You're opening your refrigerator, you take whatever your favorite beverage, it's data also. So there's so much data about you. So it's something we have. Does a company really have to think about those things also when they plan their implementation of AI?
There's an entire field of responsible AI. Okay, while we are implementing and the AI technology is evolving, okay, evolve it in a way that it's both responsible and ethical. I mean, making the technology ethical and using it for ethical purposes and using it ethically is a no-brainer. I mean, that's a non-debatable issue, right? But responsible AI as well, right? And that's also something that especially in the enterprise space, the companies are very cognizant of it. Okay, they are ensuring that that happens. Okay, the biases to some or other extent are going to creep in, because at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is nothing but a machine-based manifestation of humans, and all of us humans are biased in some or other way. But we as humans are forgiving as far as other humans' biases are concerned, but as far as machines and technology is concerned, we want it to be perfect, which ideally I don't think it is possible. Okay, so in the initial days there are going to be some biases, but understand that those biases are nothing but the way any human would act, right? I mean, if a general manager of a hotel, okay, would be addressing some guests, okay, let's say he understands Europeans and European culture very well, okay, he would have a longer conversation with you. But if I walk in and he doesn't understand much about South Asians or Indians, he would have a shorter conversation with me, right? But an AI would also be the same. An AI, if it's trained on extensive amount of European data, it will have a longer interaction with you as compared to me. So it's similar. Okay, so those kinds of persona, biases will continue and extend, and to some extent, we need to look at AI as good or bad as the humans are right now, because it's all learning from the humans any which ways, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just quick, because we're talking about how companies should think about when they plan on implementing AI. I'm sure the question is also how to measure the success and the return of investment of AI implementation.
Right.
And maybe there's a change management or implementation plan in place. What are the discussions you have with companies that you are consulting with about that ROI issue and also the implementation plans that need to be made, and what time span are these plans made for?
Right. One interesting thing is none of the or most of the companies are not looking at an immediate ROI based business plan as far as AI is concerned. Okay, instinctively companies and management understand that this technology that's come in, okay, is getting to be mainstream. It's hitting the inflection point. It can do a lot of things, but if we go through the regular ROI based decision making and business plans, okay, we might kill it. But at the same time, they also do not yet completely understand in their day-to-day services, solutions, offerings, where all AI can be used. Okay, and that's where we go in as so we offer a service called Chief AI Success Officer, right? So we are Chief AI Officer for a company out of residence, right? We help companies to think about, how to think about AI and how to implement AI successfully. Okay, and sometimes actually not sometimes, a lot of times that comes with the offering that, hey, you've been doing XYZ things, but if you implement AI, you can also do ABC, which earlier you were not doing, and all of a sudden, they open up new partnership models for you, new business models, new revenue models for you. Would you be interested to go into that? Okay, though it's literally opening up the mind and the opportunities of the companies, and happens. It's a strategic decision, and then sort of road mapping and phase-wise implementation gets in. But most often than not, some companies are really open with very progressive and adventurous and want to get into that role, evolve into that role. But they start off with their immediate solutions, and they prioritize that. So we build a phase-wise roadmap, and typically the roadmap is about 4 to 6 quarters. Okay, of complete AI planning and implementation, and the revenue model, especially the new revenue model generation as well. The first quarter goes in completely planning and strategy itself, and then the next 3 to 5 quarters go in implementation and business generation.
Very good. So we talked about what are the things a company should think about when they plan on implementing AI. But quickly for all the viewers, I also do this as an audio podcast. So if you'd like to listen to this podcast, just go to the Social Hotelier at your favorite podcast channel, and you can listen to Jayanth and me sharing this information that we're just talking now on video as you watch it. Okay, so let's get back to the topic of potential risks of implementing AI in a company. And are there some risks? And what they should think about, what should they be careful about? Maybe, Jayanth, could you just address sort of some burning topics that the companies should be thinking about when they're implementing?
Yes, there are definitely some risks. There are risks in terms of over-investing, in particular techniques or tools right up front, which could go down the cost curve or the price curve a little later, or over investing without knowing the glass ceiling of a particular technique, that it cannot go beyond that. We've seen that in the case of LLMs. LLMs can get you only as much accuracy and consistency, and there's no point betting the farm on it right at the beginning. So the biggest risk that I see, especially for companies, is actually picking a technique, this one right at the beginning, and investing heavily into it, without phasing it out, and without having a medium to long term plan about it. Okay, I see it as the biggest risk actually.
Yeah. How about intellectual property and legal risks? There might be a host of legal issues in the application of AI, and then the accountability for mistakes made by AI system is still undetermined. Are there some issues that they have to maybe should think about also?
So right now, when we talk to companies and advise them, we always ask companies to look at AI as an augmentation tool, okay, for what the company and its employees and its workforce does. Okay, so there's this concept of co-pilot in the AI space. So AI as a technology is your co-pilot. It's only going to augment what people are doing. So as far as the accountability is concerned, the accountability still lies with the humans and the workforce and the employees and the decision makers. Okay, and AI will help you make things faster. Okay, and augment what you do as as an employee in the company. Okay, look at AI in terms of that, instead of completely automating a job and giving it to the machines, and also passing on the accountability. Right now we don't advocate passing on the accountability. We implement AI with different companies for different use cases in a way that AI is actually takes the productivity and the service levels to a completely different level by augmenting what the persons and the workforce is doing, as opposed to completely replacing the people or the teams.
Yeah. Also, I read almost every day the vulnerability to cyber attacks, where companies and systems are an AI system can be vulnerable to cyber attacks, and businesses need to constantly update their AI systems with recent algorithms to tackle such threats. What is your advice to companies in the sense that they protect themselves the best they can to these cyber attacks?
As far as cyber attacks are concerned, more than the attacks on the AI systems and the AI platforms of the companies need to look at how AI could be used for cyber attacks, like automated DDoS attacks. Okay, like automated DDoS attacks, and in the space of cyber security, there are tools and certifications, security protocols coming into place, which are essentially trying to avoid these as well, and those need to be implemented. I mean, AI in cyber security and cyber attacks is the threat is more than the use of AI in automating the cyber attacks as compared to the cyber attacks on AI systems.
Yeah. Well, very interesting. But also, mistakes in AI systems can cause massive damages to a company's infrastructure and reputation, especially in critical areas like programming and coding. Things that what do you advise companies to be aware of in what is the AI is able to accomplish, and also what are the downside of things that mistakes that companies should think about when they are implementing?
So what we advise the companies is that to look at AI as, like I said earlier, as a tool to increase the productivity. Okay, it can do things faster for you, but at the end of the day, the decision making and the accountability still lies with the workforce and the people and the employees, right? So even in coding, right? I mean, we have GitHub co-pilots, and even in marketing, and let's say AI is coming up with copies and emails and automated emails. Before sending the email, one look and read needs to be done by the marketing person or the person who's sending the email, because we very strongly advocate that the accountability, the responsibility of anything that's AI generated even, okay, needs to lie with the employee. And right now we are actually helping companies formulate those policies. Okay, you guys can use AI based tools, okay, from your accounts, from your mail IDs. Even if it's AI generated, the accountability is yours. So, right now for the foreseeable future, till the AI technology and tools become extremely accurate, consistent and reliable, okay, this is going to continue, and this needs to continue.
Yeah, I mean, just from playing around with these tools for a little bit over a year now, because when I ask ChatGPT or any of those apps something, they answer with great confidence.
Yes.
And you really have to read very carefully
yes.
what the answer is, and make sure before you send it out or publish it that you have really read it not only once but twice. Because this is what I learned. That's what I learned, and also that when you're creating content, particularly marketing, creating content using copy.ai or any of those tools, that you have to make sure that you are using your own brand voice and your whole human voice, not the AI produced voice, because the reader on the other side will notice the difference.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, any generative AI created content is accurate for about 85%. It's the last 15% or some critical 15% that it is not, but it confidently claims, confidently says it. So that's where it becomes a responsibility of the employer and the workforce to correct that. Yeah. Okay.
So we have just touched on a very interesting value, some key risks that have to be included. I'm just thinking what else we could. Accuracy and accountability. Yeah, we talked about that. Intellectual property and legal risks, we talked about that, and we talked about the cyber attacks, we touched that, and then not over investing at this point, I think, on one heavily, we talked about that. So I think we covered most bases here for today in this episode about what the companies should be thinking about when they are implementing. But I think finally, how long have you been around about artificial intelligence? Just how many years, Jayanth?
Since 2015.
Okay, so that's
8-9 years.
That's actually very long ago in terms of the development of AI.
Yes.
Now, if you would ask yourself, your younger self, as it was at that time when you were starting up, what advice would you give yourself, considering what you know now?
Keep running. Keep up with it. Okay, keep up with it.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Great, Jayanth. It's been really a pleasure. And for those who, as you can see, that Jayanth is really in tune with what's happening in the latest development of artificial intelligence, and also advising companies around the world. And he's also in a podcast talking about these things. But if you'd like to reach out to Jayanth, so Jayanth, where can they reach you?
On my LinkedIn, I'm Jayanth N Kolla, and my email ID is jayanth@convergencecatalyst.com. I'm reachable at both places.
Very good. Well, thanks, Jayanth. This has been, as always, a very enlightening episode, and I learned, as always, a lot this time. And it's so good that you reminded me that we have these episodes once a year, and it's almost like looking in the crystal ball. But in fact, when we talk about it a year from now, we say, yeah, this is what happened in AI. So it seems to be like we have this vision of looking into the future a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I mean, every year we have this episode that we do in January or February, and it sets the tone, and it's literally like crystal ball gazing, and almost all the time we've been right. So I'm, like I said, that's why talking to you in the early part of the year is very sentimental for me now. We've been doing this for 4 or 5 years.
Likewise. So let's keep it up. We'll have so many episodes ahead of us.
Yes, absolutely. Look forward to Sam-Erik. Always a pleasure.